So guys, I'm giving up on guitar. I'm gonna become a piano YouTuber. No, I'm totally kidding. But I bet you didn't know that I have actually always wanted to learn how to play piano. And I've actually tried a few times, but I've never really super followed through with learning piano. What I'll do is I'll actually go buy myself a piano and I'll play it for a few months. And then I don't really make enough time for it and I end up selling it again because it's taking up space and I'm not playing it enough. But I always regret it. I'll come across a Coldplay song or a Kygo song and I'm like, oh, I wish I had a piano with me. But a few weeks ago, a brand called PopuMusic reached out to me and asked if I would like to try their new piano. And here it is. Now, before we open this up and I show you guys what it looks like, the concept of this is essentially a MIDI piano that's made for beginners. The premise is that they have an app and it kind of gamifies learning piano. The other element that's cool is that it will function as kind of a normal MIDI piano as well. So with all that in mind, let's kind of take a look at what we've got here and open it up. First thing here is that it comes in this case right here. Now, this case is absolutely strong enough to kind of like go inside of a suitcase or something like that if you're traveling. I just probably wouldn't trust it for a little bit more kind of rigorous travel. This does squish just a little bit, but it's still very safe and it's nice that it comes with this. When you open it up, this is what you see. Boom. That is the PopuPiano. First impression, it looks great. Feels and looks pretty high quality. Taking that out and setting the PopuPiano down, you also have a pad. So this thing has its own little separate pocket that's kind of fits underneath the piano. You also just have a charging cable. It's just USB-C. Just from my first impressions, again, it seems like the battery lasts a long time as well. Looking a little bit more closely at the quality of this keyboard. Plastic, all feels high quality. It has a little bit of weight to it. It's still lightweight. You know, again, it's meant to be travel and compact and all of that. Everything feels rigid. It doesn't feel flimsy or anything like that. The keys feel nice. They're not weighted. Right here, you have a power button. And then these two buttons right here, these little arrows, are kind of your octave up and octave down. That's where the charger is. Just like I said, pretty simple USB-C connection there. Let me show you my absolute favorite part about this piano. I'm gonna hold down the power button and boom. I'll be honest with you guys, I actually love this feature of these kind of lights like this a lot more than I thought I was going to. And I was pleasantly surprised. It is every bit as bright as it looks in the pictures. And it's really cool if you play it in like a dark room. Like I was playing A Sky Full of Stars by Coldplay the other night, complete pitch black other than this piano. And it was awesome. It just was so cool. It lit up the whole room. What's cool too is that if you're not into the whole rainbow key thing, you have a few options. First, let me show you this. The way to tell how your battery life is on this or how much battery you have left in the piano is you actually tap the power button and it will light up as if this whole thing is a battery bar. I think that's just like the coolest thing ever. The other cool thing about this is, again, if you're not into the whole rainbow thing, you can actually press down the octave buttons, the two octave buttons here together, and it will change colors. So right now, it's actually just a blank keyboard, but if you press down on these keys, it does this little cool light up thing. Now, I don't know how actual useful that is in terms of like playing it, because to me, whenever I was experimenting with it, it was a little bit distracting, but it is still really fun and it's kind of a cool feature to have. So again, you can kind of cycle through and tap those two octave buttons again. It kind of does the same thing, but it just does all white. Still a neat feature to have, but I probably won't actually use that feature that often. So you click the octave buttons again. So this is kind of cool, and I was actually using this quite a bit because this actually mimics what a real piano looks like. So clicking the black octave buttons again up here, it takes us back to the original mode, the rainbow mode. Now, looking at the pad here, the way that this works with this piano, this actually magnetizes. I think that's the coolest thing ever. It really is a pretty strong magnet connection, like almost strong enough to actually hold it on its own. If I was to give this whole setup kind of a quality rating as far as just the physical package alone, I would probably give it like an 8 or 9 out of 10. Now, a big part of this whole setup here with the PopuPiano is that you actually get access to the PopuMusic app. The PopuMusic app is a free app that's on the Android and Apple app stores, and it ties in perfectly with the PopuPiano and their other instruments that they sell. In that, number one, you can actually just link this up to your phone and be able to play the piano with your phone, and it'll play on your phone speaker. But you can also use their educational platforms, and they have these kind of play along things where they'll show you what to play on the piano, and it all ties in together. So let's get into that. I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of what you can do inside of that app and what it actually looks like. So whenever you open up the PopuMusic app and connect your PopuPiano, you get a lot of options. And the first option that I clicked on and wanted to kind of experiment with was just FreePlay. I just wanted to jam around and see what happens. And you can just start clicking on stuff and actually start to be able to just jam around, which I actually think I'm gonna end up spending the most time in this FreePlay section. So an example of that is that I just learned one of my favorite songs over the last few days, A Sky Full of Stars. I just learned kind of the basic chord progression that goes through the whole song. It sounds a little bit like this. I'm not very good yet, please don't judge, but it kind of sounds like this. Now, there's a couple other things here, like you can switch to different kinds of instruments, so, which is awesome because again, that's some of the functions you would get more in like a traditional MIDI keyboard. And then just to show you guys a little example too, as far as the octave thing goes, this is a fairly basic feature that comes with a lot of pianos and keyboards like this, but if you click these buttons up here, these octave buttons, it does a little animation and then you can go back to center, you can go all the way down. You can kind of just play around with that and use whatever section of the piano or the keyboard that you want to. Now, one other feature of this that's a really big part of the whole PopuPiano experience and PopuMusic experience is the educational aspect. So I'm gonna click this right here, this pop hits section, and it pulls up, looks like some songs that I can learn and things like that, some different options. And I'm just gonna pick one and I'm just gonna try it out. I'm gonna try out Love Story because, you know, Taylor Swift, Swiftie, boom. Oh my gosh, I can already tell this is gonna be like, okay, so I'm gonna click this button here. Okay. Oh, okay, so what this is doing is, oh, I pressed the wrong button. Oh my gosh, missed. Okay, oh gosh. Okay, I'm gonna pause it so I can talk for a second. Second kind of first impression thought, that was a little easier than I thought it was gonna be. What it essentially was doing was kind of playing almost like a, if you were playing guitar, it would be called fingerstyle, where you're playing the vocals on piano. That is cool, but at the same time, it's not something that I would spend a lot of time on because what I would wanna do is I would wanna learn how to play the actual backing piano to Love Story. A PopuPiano Explore the Charm of Music. But yeah, it looks like maybe a little demo, and then after you do that, you can kind of do some other different lessons and stuff. That is probably something that I will spend quite a bit of time in, learning some of the basics, because that's where I'm at, is basics. Now, the last thing that I want to touch on before we wrap up this review is probably my favorite aspect of the PopuPiano is that it connects with other apps. So you can actually use this with Garageband, you can actually use this with Logic, and I think a few other programs like that that are kind of more traditional uses for MIDI keyboards. So I've been using this in Garageband, so I'm gonna open up Garageband to show you guys what it's all about. This aspect of it is another thing that I think is something that I hope that they add to the PopuMusic app, but I think is also an awesome, it's great that it works in GarageBand, but I hope that they add this functionality to the PopuMusic app. You can use a Bluetooth speaker or Bluetooth headphones in conjunction with the PopuPiano. This is actually where I have been spending most of my time, is in GarageBand, using a Bluetooth speaker connected to my phone, and then the PopuPiano connected to my phone, and using it all within GarageBand. And it's awesome. It works great. It sounds great. Being able to use a Bluetooth speaker or some Bluetooth headphones is a game changer. That makes a huge difference, because to me, what I want to do is I want to sit here, I want to crank this thing up full blast, and I want to play. I think that sounds awesome. I think it's really cool, really fun to play. All the light up stuff still works. So I love that, because I want to use this as an actual keyboard, as an actual piano, not just a learning tool within the PopuMusic app. So I love that it has both and it works well in both. So guys, that's the PopuPiano, and that's the PopuMusic app to go along with it, and that is showing that this thing can work in GarageBand really well too. I gotta say, like, my impressions of this are awesome. I've been super stoked on it. I've been jamming on it quite a bit. I'm impressed. I dig it. The build quality feels great. The colorful keyboard thing I think is cool. It's not just a gimmick. And man, I'm stoked on it. I'm not a pianist, so you know, take that with a grain of salt because I don't have a lot of experience in this field. But as somebody who is a beginner pianist, who is a musician, who wants to learn piano and all of that, I think this is a great tool to do it. And it's a great learning tool. And it also functions as an actual instrument too. It's not just a learning tool, it's also an instrument. And it's not just an instrument, it's a learning tool. And I think that it's cool because I think it hits kind of both things, which is, I think, what PopuMusic is all about. So guys, I'm super stoked on this. I will absolutely be using this thing quite a bit. Be sure to check out my Instagram because I'm sure I'll post some jams of me just kind of jamming around and playing around on this thing and show you guys what I'm learning as I'm learning it. Big thank you to PopuMusic for sending this out to me to check out. I am really enjoying it. I'm stoked to share it with you guys. And yeah, I'll have links to everything for PopuMusic and the PopuPiano down in the description below. Be sure to check it out and see what you think, guys. If you're thinking about learning piano, I think this thing is a pretty great option. Guys, I had a lot of fun making this video. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. I'll see y'all soon.